Obviously, this past weekend did not go Clemson's way. It didn't go how we thought it was going to go. Again, I thought that the 17 and a half points that Syracuse was being spotted heading into the game was pie in the sky. I thought it was crazy. I don't know what Vegas was thinking.
Yeah.
We both picked Clemson to win by 3, and we were still wrong.
Yeah.
So that shows how off we are on this team still. But as you've had a couple days to kind of digest it, and maybe go back and watch parts of it, because I'm pretty sure none of us can stomach to go back and watch the whole game again. What are your kind of thoughts, just to kind of put a bow on the Syracuse game? What happened? What is going on with this team? What are you seeing as we're a couple days removed from our third loss of the season? Yeah, that's right. I said third loss in 4 games so far this season. We have yet to beat a Power 4 opponent in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back and watch the team and watch this tape, I mean, it's a lot of bad. I mean, it's hard to. I said this on Saturday. I mean, it's hard to point to one thing because just so many things are just not going well and things aren't being done correctly. Obviously, the first drive from the defense was extremely disappointing. I mean, that's about as bad of a first drive I've seen from a Clemson defense like ever. Even some of the performances last year, when they gave up the touchdown drives, they made it a little bit more difficult than what that was. I mean, Syracuse got whatever they wanted on that drive, and it was baffling. And that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. It just Syracuse, they made all the plays. I mean, we told you guys in the preview that they had a dynamic passing game. They had a good weapons. Steve Angeli was the leader in college football in passing yards for a reason. But the thing that was just most disappointing was, again, you didn't really have much of a pass rush. You didn't get pressure on the quarterback. You weren't able to disturb him enough. I mean, Steve Angeli at one point in the game, he was almost perfect. And he was at like over 11 yards an attempt. Like, I mean, just explosive play after explosive play. I mean, and his receivers were making big time catches for him. And, your corners were getting caught looking in the backfield, and guys just flat out being out of position, getting beat, picking on, some of your weaker guys in coverage. Ricardo Jones, again, just a guy that seems to be a frequent target for teams in the passing game. He's just not very fast, and that's just not his game. Ashton Hampton has completely regressed from last year. So those those two in particular had rough games. You saw Brandon Strozer get in at times. He did not look very good, despite all the talks about him in fall camp about how much he had grown. Still don't feel like you have good depth there at this point. Shout out Avion Terrell. I mean, I think he's gotten some criticism, but honestly, I think for the most part this season he's largely played well, and he had some really good tape on Saturday actually, and had some really nice moments. But other than that, I mean, you just don't really have much on the back end. That's really that's really just playing lights out, and you couple that with the lack of pass rush and the struggles from the linebacking core. I mean, that's how you get the result you got. And they just kind of jumped on you early, and that set the tone. And we know the woes of this offense. I mean, we can talk about it ad nauseum, but it's just another example of this team just not having any answers on either side of the ball, and everybody seems to be looking at somebody else to go make a play, or to make the right play call, or to make the right adjustment. It seems like nobody, when you looked at that sideline throughout the game, nobody looked like they had any confidence in what they had prepared to do. And that's very troubling. It just is. And that's a sign of a team that has not been prepared very well, and a team that does not have much belief in what they're doing at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, this game was really over from go. Syracuse came in. They looked like the more physical team. They looked like the team that wanted it more, and they came in and took it to Clemson early. I mean, you mentioned that first drive, 51 rushing yards on that first drive. They literally ran it straight down the defense's throat for the entire first drive.
Yep.
Steve Angeli only threw 2 passes on that first drive, one of which being a touchdown pass, which was a great catch by the wide receiver.
I think
Whenever
those two passes combined for like 37 yards or 40
yeah,
yards. Like,
yeah. So they had a lot of success early. Then they go for the onside kick. Clemson got caught sleeping. It's been reported that they were told prior to going on the field to be on the lookout for an onside kick. Clearly, that message did not get across to some of those guys out there because they retreated far too early. They allowed the room for Syracuse to execute a very good onside kick. And then before you know it, you're down 10-0 before your offense even touches the ball. And although the Clemson offense had some success in this game in the manner of piling up yards, they couldn't punch it in when it mattered. They couldn't score points when it mattered. And everybody knows this is a game of points, right? You have to score points. Nobody cares how many yards you pile up. It's great. Oh, awesome. The offense put up 500 yards of total offense. That's great. How many points you put on the board? And how many points did Syracuse put on the board? So really it's 500 yards of emptiness because you didn't get the job done. And when the defense in the second half gave you multiple opportunities to get yourself back in the game, you could not execute. You let drive stall. I mean, it seemed every time Clemson crossed the 50 or got near the 50, that was about time for the drive to stall, which is how they ended up putting up 500 yards of total offense and not scoring a whole bunch of points. So you just got to finish on offense. It's kind of at a point where it's baffling. It's unacceptable. The play calling at times is head scratching. The personnel decisions at time is head scratching. For instance, that poor clock management. I don't care what they say. It was poor clock management at the end of the first half. You had time to run a play, and for whatever reason, the entire offense just goes off to the sideline like the play clock's not running. End up having to take a timeout. And then you end up having to do a Hail Mary instead of, getting, 8 to 10 yards and being able to try to kick a field goal and get some points at the end of the half. So poor clock management there. But, whatever, right? You end up having to do a Hail Mary. Why are your shortest receivers in the end zone for the Hail Mary? It literally makes no sense. And I know Garrett Riley was asked about it today. And the reporter that asked the question kind of gave him an out about, were you worried about those guys being able to get down there and be in position? And he kind of took that out, that the question kind of gave him, whoever that reporter was. I don't know who it was. But that's complete nonsense. To sit here and pretend like Ian Shefflin and Tristan Smith and whoever can't get down there in time in order for a jump ball in the end zone is crazy. First of all, they only rushed 3 people. Second of all, you got Antonio Williams jumping for a jump ball in the end zone on a Hail Mary. Really? Come on, man.
Barely 6 foot.
Yeah, he's like 5'11".
Yeah.
6 foot at best on his best day. Come on, man. It just makes no sense from personnel standpoint in certain things that they do. One of the other things that's really starting to bother me about this offense, and really Garrett Riley as a play caller and a play designer, is why can we not figure out how to make the tight ends a more featured part of our offense? They literally catch everything that comes their way. Literally everything that comes their way, they catch. Whether it's OPH, whether it's Josh Sapp, whether it's Christian Bentiker, all 3 of them, they literally catch everything that comes their way. You can't say the same for the wide receivers because they got far too many drops at four games into the season.
Yep.
But you can't say that about the tight ends. They catch everything. Circus catches. But somehow we can't call plays for them. And then you see a guy like Tristan Smith get a catch late in the game on the sideline and literally bully half of Syracuse's defense and go get 5 more yards. But he can't get more plays, right? Come on, man. Sometimes it becomes effort. Sometimes you got to play the guys that look like they want it more, regardless of how much they're making in NIL and how much another guy is making in NIL. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, and man, I've heard some very troubling things on the Tristan Smith end. Not about him, not about him, but how they've gone about using him and how they treated him when they brought him in. It's very troubling, and it doesn't. It's not a very glowing endorsement for this team and how they treat transfers at this point. If you're going to be listen, if you're going to be a serious player in the portal, you got to play the guys you bring in. That's just the reality. I mean, what they've done with the 3 transfers they brought it. I mean, yes, Will Helt is a starter for you, and he's played very well, but Jeremiah Alexander barely plays. Tristan Smith, I was just absolutely shocked to see that he actually exists. I mean, if this team is going to want to go get guys when they feel like they need to get guys, you have to play them when you do get them. And it's not like I'm asking you to play scrubs. They have not all 3 of them have shown themselves to be capable at different points. And they at least look like they care. I haven't seen lack of effort from Will Helt. I haven't seen lack of effort from Jeremiah Alexander. I haven't seen lack of effort from Tristan Smith. Like, they care. They wanted to be here. That's the reason they came to Clemson. I mean, Tristan Smith was your first real transfer, and he can't play, and he can't get on the field. Like, if you thought he was that good and you felt that he could play with the guys you brought in, then play him. And I just said I wasn't going to get in a rant, but this was something that I had talks about, after the game and after the post game show, and it's really bothering me now, because that's just, it's inexcusable. And Garrett Riley said today, it's like, well, we feel like Tristan Smith is really coming along, and he looks really good with the ball in his hands. And I'm like, okay. So are you going to explain why he hasn't been able to get on the field and why you're not?
He's like, I don't want to say it's surprising, but you don't think of a guy with that body type to be that dynamic with the ball in his hands. Like, bro, like, what? Do you hear yourself right now? How do you not know that? Have you not been watching this guy in practice, like, literally all summer, all fall camp? You don't know that he's dynamic with the ball in his hands? You don't know that he's a high-effort guy? You don't know. It took Saturday against Syracuse for a catch and him to show more effort than maybe anybody on that offense all day. That's what it took for you to realize that he could be dynamic with the ball in his hands? Come on, man. Come on. Like, bro, get out of here with that nonsense. That's craziness. That don't make any sense to me. That just shows that you're out of touch with your personnel. You're out of touch with what's going on. You have no idea. You have no clue. This Syracuse game was absolutely. What's the stat for us at home now, Jordan? I know you've said it a few times now.
Yeah, you are what, 3 of 5, or something like that. L's. I can't remember. Okay, so yeah, Syracuse, L, and then not Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was Troy.
You won.
And then LSU. Troy, you won. LSU, you lost. South Carolina, you lost.
You lost.
Citadel, you won. Louisville, you lost. So, yeah.
You're 2-4.
Yeah.
In your last 6 games at home in Death Valley.
Yeah.
Teams coming to Death Valley used to mean something. It used to mean that you were dang near guaranteed a loss against this Clemson Tiger team. Not anymore. I mean, that's in our own stadium, Jordan. That's in our own stadium. 2-4. The only 2 wins coming against non-power 4 opponents. When are you going to beat a Power 4 opponent in Death Valley? Are we capable of doing that? I don't know. It certainly don't look like it. I mean, this team's down bad, man. They got to figure it out. They got a lot of work to do this bye week. And I'm so thankful that it's a bye week. I'm so thankful we can turn the page on this Syracuse game and we don't have to watch this team play on Saturday. And that's sad to say because I love college football and I love watching Clemson play. But I'm so glad we don't have to watch them play this weekend. I really am.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because at the same time, it's like, yay, it's a bye week, but oh my God, it's a bye week.
Yeah.
And we know the history with this program.
How glad are we going to come out of the bye week
against what might be the worst team in the ACC or the second?
Look here, I'm going to say it right now. If you lose to North Carolina, you may not win another game this year. You're certainly not going to a bowl game.
Yeah.
If you lose to North Carolina, you have a 0% chance of going to a bowl game. I promise you that. They are terrible. As bad as Clemson is, they're worse.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because Clemson's pretty dang bad.
Yeah.
Man,
but we'll leave that conversation for the UNC preview next week.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and leave that there.